So here we go then, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Kings of Anglia Fan Social, the show where the KOA Army share their thoughts on all things town. I hope you all had a good weekend. It was a sunny one. It was a hot one. And as you can see, I've got a bit of red on me. I was a bit naughty. I didn't put sun cream on and I got a bit red. But I do tan well, so I'll continue to work on my tan. But yeah, the off-season is still here. The off-season blues, but the transfer window officially opens this week. The fixtures aren't that long away to be released, so I can't wait for that. But I'm joined by Simon and Matt as we give you the first outing of the Kings of Anglia podcast this week to get you ready for the week. Simon, how's things with you, and how do you occupy yourself with no football?
Yeah, thanks, Ross. Thanks for having me on. It's always a tricky dilemma of what you do during the off-season in the football. I was up in Felixstowe enjoying the sunshine at the weekend with my mum, so that was nice. We had a barbecue, so that's good to get that going. But obviously it's an Ashes summer as well in the cricket, so that's probably what will keep me going through the next few weeks up into the pre-season.
Definitely. We've got a lot of cricket fans I know on the part of the KOA Army, so they'll be well up for that. And of course it's here this year, isn't it, the Ashes? So there'll be people going to it as well. So yeah, look forward to that. Matty Makin, always a pleasure to be joined by you, my friend. How's things, and how are you occupying yourself without football?
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Ross. Yeah, it's been good. Mrs. M and I just got back from a weekend away in Oxford, visiting friends there. There's actually friends who come down and travel down at Portland Road and sit with me in the Churchman. So it was quite nice to be there without any fog or a three-sided stadium at any point, which was a boon. So it's been nice actually being able to spend time with Jem on a Saturday, which is a very rare occurrence during the season, and get out and just do some bits and bobs. Sort of getting to that stage in life where you got English heritage memberships, nationals, so you just go wandering around old castles and stately homes and that. But I'm just waiting, like Simon says, waiting for the Ashes to start, and the Women's World Cup as well. And that'll be over Australia and New Zealand, so there's going to be some odd hours here to keep up with the Lionesses, but that'd be nice to have some football back soon.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Yeah, that's my one takeaway from the off season is I get to see my family. Because some people are lucky they can take their family to Ipswich Town games and they can enjoy it as a family. But yeah, I've had an opportunity to actually see family members and they go, "Oh, we forgot what you look like." I do see my family throughout the week and stuff, but that's just I can actually enjoy my weekends and see. But I am missing the football. I'm missing seeing all the KOA Army and stuff. That's another thing I miss. Matty, and Simon, just miss seeing you guys in the flesh. Sometimes we meet up, we play five-a-side and stuff, but on the Saturday,
we got the five-a-side going twice a week now. It's
twice a week.
It's mad, and I'll see you this Wednesday. I won't see you tonight, but I will see you. I will see you this Wednesday.
Definitely, mate. Yeah, definitely, mate. Looking forward to that. And yeah, if you want to get involved in the five-side, let us know, and we're happy to invite all the numbers and all that sort of stuff. Well, let's jump on then, boys. Even though it is a bit quiet on the Ipswich Town front, I'm sure it will ramp up very soon when the fixtures are out, the kit's going to get launched and all that, and signings, of course, sexy signings. Everyone loves that, don't know, the sexy business. The transfer window does officially open this week, and that is the question I'm going to ask the boys. Where do you think Town will and need a strengthening, Simon? Jack Taylor has been, Barry Fry, the Peterborough man, he's been mentioning him. Apparently Town bidded 3 times for the midfielder in January. Thoughts on him and also places you think Town will need and will strengthen in?
Yeah, it's Jack Taylor's an interesting one. Obviously, as you say, been linked multiple times already. Sort of seemed to have a bit more sort of dynamic go forward from midfield, a bit more of a goal scorer, getting into the box, and probably the current players we've got in that mix at the minute. It's an area I think we need a body, despite the fact I think we've got 8 on the books. If you include Massimo Luongo, obviously hasn't signed yet. But I do think he offers a slightly different profile to what we've got in there at the minute. 3 million, though, may be a little bit steep for a player. I think we could probably find somebody at a cheaper price point. We know Darren McAntony is very difficult historically to do business with. So maybe you could find somebody of that same ilk for a lower price. But generically, I think centre-back is an area that definitely looks like it needs its light. There's only 3 sort of senior players there at the minute. And ideally, I think we could do with a left-sided sort of battle-hardened championship defender. That would be up there for me. A right-sided player to compete with Burns on that side maybe someone who could cut inside on a left foot, maybe. Because I don't think we've got maybe a left-footed winger option for either side. Quite a lot of right-footed players there. So maybe just, again, to sort of change the profile. A versatile sort of attacker, as one who can play all four positions, sort of left, right, attacking midfield and striker. And that sort of John Jules role. And then definitely centre forward is an area that they need to strengthen. And obviously George Hurst is the name that everybody's linking. But there's good players around. Obviously, Jerry Yates is another one who seems to have been sort of linked from the outside by the Sun. So another player with championship experience and a good goal scorer.
I like that. And just to put his official title on Barry Fry, Director of Football. I always like to make sure make sure I give the right names and stuff like that. So Director of Football Barry Fry saying that about Jack Taylor. Matt, thoughts on that, my friend?
Yeah. Similar to Simon, really. It's a name that's been bandied about. Clearly, Kieran McKenna rates him. We were in for him quite big in January. Didn't come off. Got Massimo in, and actually, it turns out we didn't need Jack Taylor for that second half of the season to get us over the line and up automatically. But I think, we are overstocked in that area of the pitch, but I wouldn't be surprised you see some outgoing. It's going to be the outgoings are going to be just as interesting as the incomings, I think, because Ashton was sort of quite clear. He's been quite clear about we operated effectively to a net zero last season with trading in terms of what we got, sort of players going out and players compared to players coming in. Albeit there would have been some sell on money from Flynn Downs last summer that would have helped that definitely. But I think you can see Peniche Kamara, I'd like to see him stay and sort of give it a go. So, but you could see some other. You can maybe see some other. And there's no guarantee that Luongo is gonna sign this new contract. Hopefully, I mean, I think it's being reported. TWTD, I think, saying that he's expected to sign, and he certainly made all the noises before the end of the season that he'd like to stay. But I think definitely centre forward. George Hurst, we were big for him in the summer, didn't get him. Went on loan to Blackburn in Championship, then came to us on loan in January. Leicester is in a bit of disarray at the moment post relegation. So, do we want to spend all summer chasing him and then end up sort of picking up what's left over? Because I think, with all due respect to Gaston Ahadme, he wasn't a top level target for us last summer, and I think that was a case of who's still available before the window slams shut in a couple of days' time. So I'd like to think we've got again, Simon said about having somebody else sort of similar to Taylor lined up. Hopefully we've got a similar centre forward line. It's sort of two George Hurst lined up. I do agree. Right hand side, I love Wes, but again, he's not had a huge amount of championship experience. So are you bringing in somebody to back him up? Or are you bringing somebody in to maybe be an upgrade in that position with Wes as the backup? You've got Caden there as well, but Caden's one season of Championship. Well, let's not talk about Caden's one season Championship. We don't want to think about that. We're back in the Championship now. And centre back, because there's three seniors and also George Edmondson. And I love George. But he has had his injury problems since he's been here. It's effectively the same injury that's ended his 2 seasons here. And he's been in that boot at the end of both seasons. So there are question marks over whether he's got a full campaign in him. So I'd like to say, a left-sided centre back or left-footed centre back rather would be a benefit. Don't think we need to go anywhere with goalies really, unless Lackey decides move on and we can find a right deal for him. Really, Christian Walton's more than capable in the Championship. But I think we're in a good position. We don't need a massive amount of signings. We're starting this window from a position of strength. Really, there's a good core of Championship quality players there. We certainly don't need another Demolition Man season, and we certainly don't need to be going out and sort of buying players just for the sake of it. We can afford to be a bit choosy, and I'm sure that data dashboard has sort of been working overtime since before the season ended and since before promotion was confirmed about the caliber and the type of players that we want to bring in.
Yeah. You made a good point as well. Oh, sorry, Simon, got to take it.
In terms of the caliber, I mean, you talk about Ashton. they've shown already they're prepared to be ruthless in terms of upgrading players. You think Harness signed last summer, Broadhead was available, he was better, and they were prepared to go for that deal because they saw an upgrade in player ability. And then sort of talk about Wes Burns, that's probably a player that the fans love, the fans adore. But if there is a better option, which for all the will in the world, Wes is not the best player in world football, and there could be better options out there. And you sort of think about players who have come up with Town on this League One journey, and we're at a different level now. And I think the fans need to accept that and be prepared for players that they probably really, really like, maybe being sort of out the door.
Absolutely. There's no room for sentiment in this window. We are a fan record. We're not one of these ruthless clubs. And Conor Chaplin spoken about his time at Barnsley and feeling more like, from his words, he kind of suggested he felt more like a commodity than a person. And then obviously we can go about handling it in a right way. But absolutely, I don't think we need to get hung up on, we love Wes. He part of getting us up. Yeah, and we'll carry on loving Wes. But if there's that better option out there, we need to, if we want to sort of re-establish ourselves as a solid championship side, we need to sort of put sentiment on the back burner.
Do you know what, boys? You've segued perfectly onto our next feature, which is which Town player do you think will make the biggest step up in the championship? And as you said, sentiment, it goes out the window. But there's some players here who are going to make a statement. We've had, there's a few players in the squad who have played championship football before. Sam Morsey, Conor Chaplin, Christian Walton in goal. But Simon, who do you reckon, will make the biggest step up out of everyone at the club at the moment?
I mean, there's some obvious candidates. For me, the player I always think with the highest ceiling in that squad at the minute is Leif Davis. You look at his attributes at 22, the way he bombs forward from left back, good engine, good crosser of a ball. He's everything you want in a modern day fullback, and given his age, I think he looks well suited to go and play certainly Premiership football, if not international football. I can certainly see him going all that way. I mean, he's got everything you want, because I remember watching Cresswell when he first sort of started at Ipswich, and he had those sort of same attributes. You could just see him becoming a really, really good player. So certainly him. And then obviously I think the likes of Broadhead as well, given his age. He is another player who looks like he's got all the attributes to go very, very far in the game. Obviously, he has already made his international debut and performed well there for Wales. But I mean, those are the players that I see sort of making that step up, who maybe they haven't seen the best of themselves in the Championship. I know Leif was on loan at Bournemouth and Nathan was on loan at Wigan. I don't think either of those moves really worked for them at that stage, but I think both are better players now, and I can really see them kicking on and being really key performers at the level above, and have the ability to grow possibly even further than that, possibly with Ipswich, hopefully.
Yeah, Nathan Broadhead, I can't wait to see him in the Championship, and Leif Davis as well. Makin, what do you reckon then, my friend? Any players, any surprise packages, do you reckon? I'll put you on the spot here. But that's going to be, I'm sure it'll be a preview.
It's not like you.
No, it's not like me at all. I'm sure we'll do a preview pod at some stage of doing all the categories, and surprise package will be there. But anybody you think will surprise us in terms of how good they will be with that step up to the Championship?
I mean, I think Harry Clark, because I mean, I know he's played a bit. Obviously, he had a half-season Championship with Stoke, but he hasn't had a huge amount of first-team football. So I think if he can get his head under control a bit, because obviously he's going to miss the first game of the Championship because that daft sending off at Fleetwood on the last day of the season. But I think he'll step up quite well. Luke Wolfenden is another one as well. I think I do agree with Simon. Highest ceiling, Leif Davis, but a very close second is Luke Wolfenden. I think he's got a long and illustrious career ahead of him, whether that's with Ipswich or moving on to other things. He played a handful of Championship games. I think it was under Mick even. I think maybe we're going back that far, but I think he's come on leaps. I mean, you think he was almost out the door when Paul Cook got the boot, and he's had. We all talk about the renaissance, but I think there's been just as good a renaissance for Luke Wolfenden, because he always frustrated me before, because his big plus is how calm he is on the ball, but that was also a big weakness for him as well, and it still happens now and again. Is that sometimes he's a bit too laid back, but McKenna's managed to channel that, and he's been with Burgess at the absolute rock at the back, and I think he'll step up quite well to the Championship for sure.
the improvement I've seen in Luke Wolfton this year seems to be a bit more of a leader on the field as well. I mean, he's only 24, but he's played like nearly 100 and something games. So he's not a young kid anymore. I mean, he needs to start looking at himself as a senior defender. He can't keep making those same mistakes he did when he was sort of 19, 20. And I think that's been a big improvement in him. The other player, obviously, is Conor Chaplin, we've not mentioned, top goal scorer in League One. And again, it's a player that you hope can make that step up and continue scoring goals in the Championship. He's probably got quite a bit of Championship experience for Barnsley, obviously competing at the top end as well when they made the playoffs, but I think wasn't sort of a guaranteed starter in that team and played off the left wing, I think, quite a lot of the time as well. But he's another one you'd hope can sort of keep that form going that he's shown all season. Because
the way he ended last season, you think, look how many of his goals came in that second half of the season, particularly almost that last third. If we're being honest, hopefully that momentum will take him over the summer, and he can, like you say, he can kick on from where he left off at the end of last season. Definitely,
worth the weight in gold. I think that's the key thing in the Championship. Chances are more at a premium, less space, less of everything. So you need players who can finish chances, and Chaplin is that guy for Ipswich.
And I'm recording a feature soon about Freddie Zappo, and he played one time in the Championship with Rotherham when they got relegated, scored 9 goals. But at the moment, he's the proper only one senior striker we've got. I know you mentioned Gas Anahagmi, Matt earlier, and so there's Joe Piggott as well making his return. But at the moment, Freddie Zappo is the only striker we've really got who we probably think is going to maybe play. What do you think on him? Because he's had a great season. 17 goals in the league, 21 in all competitions. Simon, what do you reckon?
He's a player that I think has a lot of good attributes that I really like from a centre forward. He likes to back in. He's big. I think he could be better with his size. I think he could use it more effectively to sort of be a bit more of a bully. At times I think he can be a little bit nice and let the game not drift past him, but not really go and attack it the way I think he could do. And I think of the goal Hurst scored against Barnsley. And that's the kind of goal that I think Ladapo could score, but I don't think would. And I can't put my finger on why, because he's got all the sort of attributes to do so. I mean, the goal he got at Charlton was a great example of what he can do. Back to goal, the way he swiveled and put it in the corner was an unbelievable finish. And it's just keeping that consistency, I think. Finding that level, he's got it in him, but he needs to do it week in, week out and prove it week in, week out. But he's going to be challenged because, as we've all discussed, there's going to be bodies coming in to challenge him, as there was last season. And I think, to be fair, Hurst coming in seemed to get the best out of Freddie. So I think if you're McKenna, you're hoping the same will happen again. But he's definitely got things he can improve on, and he has improved, certainly from the player I saw at the start of last season, who was sort of heavily criticised. And I think he now fits into the system well, and he's certainly a good squad player, but maybe not a guaranteed starter at that level.
And Matt, I want to jump on something you said earlier, which I thought was a very good point about we don't want to sort of wait around for George Hurst, do we? We don't want to fight for scraps for strikers. And I think, hopefully we can get the business done early. I think that's what they like to do. Kieran McKenna, Mark Ashton, they do that. And that is a position I don't think we want to wait around with. We want to make sure we get the player in the door so Ladapo knows he's got that competition. But your thoughts on Freddie?
Yeah, I like Freddie. I've made no secret of that on the pods in the past. Really, I think I'm second only to Mark Beck in the KOA posse in terms of being Freddie's biggest fan. Because I just think as a person, he's just very infectious, and I think he's a good player to have around the squad. I do agree with Simon. I think squad player, Championship's really his level. He scored 9 goals in what was a Rotherham side that was relegated that season. So that's no mean feat. In that context, I think, challenge, whether it's Hurst coming back in or another coming back in and challenging, that does he seems to be a player that thrives on that. So that can only be good. McKenna's got another summer to work with him now as well. Obviously, I know he came in quite early. He was the first one through the door this time last year. We've got another summer now, and so they know each other better. And hopefully that development will sort of progress further. But he's definitely one to have in the squad for the season ahead.
I think it was the sorry. We keep doing this. I keep doing this. Talk.
I think you sort of mentioned in terms of not waiting around for George Hurst. I think that's what impressed me about the way the club went about their business last summer, because they sort of started off by nailing down all the assets in the building. That I think Burns got a contract, Jackson, Wolfenden. So they sort of nailed down the players onto new deals. Then there was sort of a bucket of free agents when sort of Ladapo, Greg Lee, sort of those guys came in, which is sort of the easier deals because you don't have to negotiate with another team. And then we waited a bit longer for those sort of added quality of players we wanted longer term. But I think of like Leif Davis, we needed a left fullback. So we got one in sort of Greg Lee, who was therefore in the building and in possession. But then we could wait that little bit longer to get Leif Davis. I think we only signed him the week before the first game of the season in the end. But we had that sort of ability to wait that long because we already got Greg Lee in the building. And that therefore meant we could afford to sort of stretch that transfer out a little bit longer. And I think the club will probably look to do their business in the same sort of way this summer as well.
Yeah, it was this time last year Freddie signed. I think the 30th of May he signed. So it was May he signed as a free agent. Of course, he couldn't play until the 1st of July, which is a rule. But yeah, Leif Davis was one where he was linked for a while, but Leeds were like, they took him to Australia. And I think that's the problem with some players, some clubs, Premier League clubs, they keep hold of players. They don't know just yet if they want him or not. Definitely if it's a young player, they send him out on loan. Of course, Leif Davis was a permanent signing. But we may have to wait with those sort of players sometimes. But
the interesting thing with Hurst particularly as well is obviously, one, Leicester have just lost a lot of income by being relegated from the Premier League down to the Championship. 2, do they want to be selling to a team they may perceive as a Championship rival? And 3, I think as well, they've got added financial issues because their owners took quite a hit during the pandemic, I believe. So there's less money flowing into the club from that route as well. And I believe I think Brendan Rodgers was sounding off about not having money to spend about this time last year to reinforce his squad. So it's a real. I'd like to think a deal could be done for Hurst, but there's so many variables there at the moment. It's certainly not going to happen in the early part of the window.
No, yeah. So, yeah. Because, not much happens in June. There's always signings, like even before the transfer window opens, there's signings that happen. You see it. But, of course, it doesn't get confirmed properly until then. But we shall see later. I mean, watch this space. Signings, I'm sure, will happen at some stage. And I'm sure other links and bobs and stuff. But it's good, once again, the club have kept that quiet. And they're just waiting to get the deals over the line. And then, boom, they're here for us to see in the new kit whenever that comes out. Well, Simon, Matt, any other business from transfers to players stepping up? Anything else you want to mention? Or shall we jump into the strike?
Let's go.
Strike. Let's do this. So Simon and Matty Makin going head-to-head as ever. Go and play at home. Pens and paper at the ready. Let us know how you get on. We've got 4 questions, plus tiebreaker as standard. Question 1 is on a legend of the club, the Northern Irishman of Allan Hunter. What a player he was back in the day. I wouldn't want to mess with him. Definitely on a five-a-side pitch, Matt. I'm sure he's going in and knocking you out, pretty much. But yes, he joined town in 1971 from which team? Was it Blackburn, Sheffield United, or West Brom? So, 1971, joined town. Of course, went on to help town win the FA Cup. Of course, that brilliant duo of Kevin and BT. Bacon and eggs is what Bobby Robson called them back then. What do you reckon then, boys? Who did he join from?
So I have gone with Sheffield United. Excuse me, I've left my pad in the other room, so I'm using the back of an envelope.
Sorry, I did that.
Man, I've had to feed the door.
All right. I did that on the pod last week when we did the keep loan sale. I just basically used all the envelopes I could find because I have no paper. But I may go to a stationery place and get like a proper notepad because I want to be more professional in that way. So it was West Brom from Simon, Sheffield United from Matt, and you're both wrong. It's actually Blackburn he actually signed from. So that is a surprise, actually. For some reason, I thought this could be an easy question, but I don't know. Both before your time, of course. I'll give you that, guys. I'll give you that. Before your time. So there we go. Question 2, though, is, I think, probably during your time, definitely during your time, is on Dean Bowditch. Celebrates his birthday this month. What is his middle name? What standard as always, middle names. Is it Matthew, Peter, or Robert? Matthew, Peter, or Robert? So is it after Matt? Is it Peter or is it Robert? We shall see. And who's going to get on the scoreboard first of all here, or are you both going to get it right? Make it 1-1. We shall see. One then, boys. What do you reckon?
I've no idea, so I've put Matthew because it's always good to have a Matt in there.
Yeah, I put Matthew as well.
Oh God, you're both wrong. It's Peter.
Yeah.
I did that once again. I sneakily did that. I was like, ooh, I was going to put Simon's name on there as well for all, but I thought I'll just put one name and then just put there as like a disguise, just to put you off the scent of Peter. It's Dean Peter Bowditch. So it's 0-0 going into question 3. Dearie me. And its question is, do you know squad numbers, boys? And do you know squad numbers on a lone player who played 6 games back in, I forgot the year, Asmir Begovic, the goalie, the Bosnian, recently released from Everton, so he's a free agent. But yeah, what squad number did he have during his loan spell? Was it 27, 31, or 35? Of course, goalkeepers normally number 1, number 13, or whatever. But of course, he's a lone goalkeeper at the time. Played 6 games in total on loan from Portsmouth at the time. He had a really good spell. But I think Portsmouth had like an injury crisis. So they was like, yeah, Asmir, you're coming back, boy. And he went on to, of course, have a good career, Asmir. I think he's now, when he's maybe early 30s now. But yeah, what do you reckon then, boys? 27, 31, or 35 was his squad number?
See, I've gone 31 because that popped into my head before you put the answers up. So
Okay. I put 31 and changed to 27. So.
Ooh, well, Simon, you made the right decision because it is 27. So, Matty Makin, sorry to say, Simon has taken the lead here. Going into the final question. And the final question is on another Irishman. And it's on Allan Quinn. And he's currently a technical coach at which Irish top flight club? When I was doing some research, I wanted a good question on Allan Quinn. I didn't know he was coaching, so he's coaching. But is it Cork City, Shelbourne, or Sligo Rovers? Cork City, Shelbourne, or Sligo Rovers? Allan Quinn, of course, famously scored that goal against Norwich. Yeah, not much else really. But got a brother who also plays Stephen Quinn. Don't think he plays anymore. I think he's stopped playing now.
Yeah, both retired.
Yeah, but yeah, Allan Quinn now coach. What do you reckon? We'll start with you, Matt, as you need this point to take it to a tiebreaker. What do you reckon?
I'm having a mare. I've gone Sligo Rovers.
Okay, Simon.
I went Shelbourne because I thought that's where he signed from. I couldn't remember.
Well, it is Shelbourne. Damien Duff is the main manager there, if you didn't know. Fun fact. Damien Duff, of course, played for Chelsea and the likes. Fulham. Was it Fulham as well, I think he played for?
Yeah.
But yeah, he's the main coach there. And yeah, Allan Quinn is the technical coach. They make new names, don't they, for different coaches these days. So, yeah, Simon, you have won. But as ever, you won 2-0. But as ever, tiebreaker time. Are you happy to gamble?
Yeah, got to risk it.
Got to risk it for a chocolate biscuit. That's the price. Well, chance here, Matt, to steal. Because you've got to get bang on, though, my friend, to steal it. And, of course, the man that has been in the news recently. It's fine. But, yeah, this man has been in the news recently because he's returned to his hometown club in Notts County, David McGoldrick. How many goals did he score for Town in 159 games? Of course, had periods where he was really good for Town. I really loved him as a player, just those injuries and stuff like that. We're always shouting, though, aren't we? Like, we should have just accepted that 8 million. I'm sure Marcus Evans, that's one thing he just regrets. I'm sure there's a lot of things he regrets. But that's one thing, we should have just sold him for 8 million. But yeah, that's a nice little fairy tale story in it, going to Notts County, where he started. He actually made his debut there. He made 4 appearances there, as a young kid before moving to Southampton and stuff, which is a little fun fact there. But yeah, Matt, bang on, my friend, to take the crown. What do you reckon? Oh, is he here? He's frozen on our screen. This is not good. And he's disappeared. Well, suspense will kill us. Well, Simon, what's your answer?
So I put 55.
55.
I remember sort of feel he's like 1 in 3 was sort of my...
Yeah.
I remember him being prolific enough to be 1 in 2 through his whole Town career with the injuries and stuff as well. So
yeah, he was top goal scorer for one season. And
this year he's on loan, wasn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and then his first permanent spell, he scored a few. But Matt is back, so let's bring him in. And Matt, you back?
Yeah. Sorry, StreamYard kicked me out.
It's fine. StreamYard. Pox's StreamYard, although it does do us a good job because we record these podcasts and videos, so it's all good. Well, Matt, Simon went 55. What are you going for? Bang on, my friend, to take the crown.
47.
Oh my God. That is so close. It's 45.
Ah!
That is unbelievable. But Simon, you have won. Because Matt does get a point. You get a point there, but it's 2-1 on the doors. Simon, well done for winning the strike this week. Good effort from good old Matty Makin. Simon,
it really wasn't, but you bless you, very kind.
Nice. I'm being very kind. Yeah, very, very kind. But Simon, take it away, my friend. Speech.
I think it's my first time winning the strike on sort of third appearance. Delighted to have got it done. Very, very close on the McGoldrick one, though. I was nervous. I knew it was about 1 in 3, so I thought that was pretty close. But yeah, well, it's good to win.
Definitely, my friend. Well played. Well, hope you all enjoyed playing at home. Well, let's get right into it then, boys. Going on to the final section. And now, this is maybe too early. And sometimes I do cool things too early, but I just want to see how you're feeling going into this off-season at the moment. Your early predictions for Town in the Championship. We've got Leicester, Leeds, and Southampton relegated. We've gone up with Plymouth and Sheffield Wednesday joining us as well. So, Simon, what do you reckon? Back in the Championship after 4 years of being in League One, what's your early feelings right now? In your stomach, where you feel, where's Town going to finish?
Yeah, I think early feelings from me is top half feels certainly achievable to me. I mean, I certainly think back to the sides we played in the FA Cup last season in terms of Rotherham and Burnley, and obviously beat Rotherham handsomely at home. I'm just hearing apparently Chaplin has just signed a new contract till 2026.
Breaking news. Well, let's pause for a second and let's talk about Conor Chaplin then, boys, because that is very good news indeed. Because I think there's always that question mark on a couple of players, weren't it, of like who's out of contract. Next summer, I think Sam Moore's out of contract next summer. But yeah, Conor Chaplin has signed a new long-term deal till 2026. Top goal scorer, just a great bloke in Conor Chaplin. So Simon, take it away on that. That's some great news, and we've got some news finally.
Yeah, as you say, great character, does great work with the foundation as well. But I mean, we appreciate him for what he does on the pitch most of all, and 29 goals with a year left, and I don't think he had an option either, which sort of means that was final 12 months of his contract. So absolutely delighted to get him tied down. I mean, he's such a good age as well. I think he's 26, 27. So again, just exactly the kind of player McKenna wants. Clearly rates him very highly, as you'd expect, given the performances he's put in. And just that's a really good piece of business. And hopefully, as you say, a couple more long-term contracts to sign, like some Morsey and Morton maybe. But yeah, great to get that one over the line.
Oh, I love live news, Matty Makin. Love it, my friend. And Chapper's won all the awards, won goal of the season. This is great news, and this is the news we want to hear right now.
It's fantastic, and actually, I just put myself on mute while someone was talking to click on the club's tweet, and again, it's an absolute banger of a tweet from the club social media account of Conor tuning the radio into "Don't You Want Me, Baby," which is absolutely just we've got top level social media people now. It's great, but yeah, moving away from that, yeah, it's exactly the same as getting West Burns nailed down this time last year. And Simon referring to that earlier about the order in which we did things. And it seems to be, Simon, you've been proved right what you said earlier, that we'll probably do the sort of thing this summer. And we've got him nailed down. He's clearly a valuable player. There's been some sort of wicked whispers kicking around, nothing of substance that he might want to sign somewhere else. But that's very much protecting your assets there, isn't it? So thrilled that he's signed that deal, and he's earned it. He really has earned it. And you look at he obviously got joint top scorer with Jonathan Clark-Harris, who can have another go at it next season, can't he? Sorry. And when you take into mind, it was 12-game drought where he didn't score a goal. and he still scored 26 league goals and however many it was in all competitions. That's phenomenal, really, when you put it into that context. So, yeah, great, and top work for the club for a time minute when we're recording. Can't thank them enough for that.
Yeah, cheers, media boys. Thanks for that. They just gave me a little message saying it's going out there.
So, is there like a little fella in there who's just new? Do you join the media team recently? There, who might have helped us out.
Some bloke. Yeah, someone called Andy Warren. But yeah, he's the one who wrote the story. So there we go. But I've just seen the pictures. Of course, he's one of the pictures on the I think the Shelbourne Robson Bridge. So if you saw Conor Chaplin there, you could have got he's doing something here. But yeah. Conor Chaplin signed the deal. That is great news. And I can't wait to see him play championship football because he has played championship football, of course, before with Barnsley and done really well there. But him being a Town player and, yeah, he's just such a likeable guy, isn't he, Conor Chaplin? And,
He's spoken about how much he loves being here. And I'll go back to what I said earlier about how he spoke about his time at Barnsley before he came to us. And he was sold to us off the back of that 5th place finish in the championship. And it's... When you hear players say that, and it's very easy to be cynical in the modern era that it's a meaningless platitude, but he, like a lot of other players, looks like he's really enjoying life in an Ipswich Town shirt. When you go back, I was watching again that little reel of all of his goals and some of his goal celebrations, and he's absolutely loving life here, and that sort of thing backs it up because he probably would have had suitors. As the summer went on, to the fact that he's gone, no, I want to commit my time. It doesn't mean he's staying for the length of that contract. We all know that. None of us are naive to think, well, he's here to the end of that contract. But it's clearly a statement that he wants to have a crack at the Championship with Ipswich Town. So it's just, I'm still amazed by this because this sort of thing never happened under Marcus Evans, and it's even sort of two and a bit years down the line. It's still a bit of a novelty after 13 years of letting your best assets go on a Bosman.
It's great to see players being rewarded for their efforts. As you say, Wes Burns had only signed the summer before he signed the new deal because his performances have been that good. He'd earned it, and as you say, Chaplin has earned it as well. And as his energy for the game is infectious. You get some footballers who look like they don't necessarily love to play football. He looks like he just loves it. He looks like every kid in the park just running around, going crazy, having a great time, loves scoring goals. And I think that energy sort of brushes off on all his teammates. He sort of triggers the press. He's the one looking to be busy, get around the pitch. And he's always there sort of linking play and then getting in the box and finishing chances. So, yeah, I don't think we could have asked for better than Conor signing that long-term deal. Obviously, 3 years is a pretty long time to commit. That'll be sort of his peak years from 26 to sort of 29, 30. So he will be here, hopefully, as we say, for his best years of football as well.
Yeah, definitely. And the quote is, there's nowhere else I'd rather be. That's what Conor Chaplin said. So there we go. He's one more game away for 100 appearances. He's scored 40 goals in total in 99 games. So he's gonna hit that 100 mark. First game of the season. Can't wait for it. Well, there we go. Some breaking news on the podcast. That's what we like to see. Let's get back into then early predictions, Simon. We were getting through that before the news dropped, which we're not going to complain about because we're happy about that. But carry on if you can remember where you left off.
Yeah, I think I'm sort of looking at sort of top half finishing, feeling more confident now. Chaplin's nailed down for the longer term. I think looking at this squad as it stands, obviously this is before any signings have come through the building, before anything else has happened. And I was sort of discussing those 2 FA Cup games, which, although, a few changes on the opposition team, but also we've made changes as well. We dispatched a Rotherham side that stayed up last season, beat them 4-1 at home, and obviously gave Burnley a run for their money twice. And that's the benchmark of the Championship last season in terms of right at the top end, league champions and runaway winners. So if you can compete with them over 2 matches, then you've got to feel very confident that you can compete with lots of other teams. There are some sides that worry me because I think of the games the Town struggle in, the likes of teams who sit deep and men behind the ball, I think like Millwall and teams like that, who will maybe do that to a higher standard because they've been long-term Championship teams in there. So those might be the games that we will struggle in more than maybe games against sort of the top end, maybe Watford, Norwich, people like that who will look to take the game to us. But yeah, I think there's enough points on the table for Town to certainly push towards the top half and maybe an outside chance of top 6. But I think we need to respect that there is an upgrade in quality. We can't go in there thinking we're going to walk the league and it's going to be another 100-goal, 100 points. I know we didn't get 100 points in the end, but sort of looking at those sort of numbers again, I don't think that's going to be how it's going to be. So yeah, I certainly think top half is where I would pitch it.
No, I like it. Makin, your thoughts then? Is it now you changed your mind? Although Conor Chaplin was our player originally, but sometimes when players sign a new contract, it does feel like a new signing. Sometimes, they're committed now for a good few years. Where are you feeling? Where's your feelings at? Where's your heart? Are you going with your head or your heart?
Now he's re-signed. We're going to win the league, aren't we? Surely. No, I jest, of course. Yeah, top half. I'd say top 10 for me is where I can see it. You absolutely have to respect the division. On the flip side of the coin, it's not changed massively in the 4 years we're away. There is going to be some powerful teams coming down. They're still going to have those 3 teams. None of them are kind of basket cases to the extent Everton were. If Everton had been that team to come down instead of Leicester, but particularly sort of Southampton and Leeds definitely will be teams to be reckoned with, because that was more kind of on field stuff rather than off-field stuff, really, although kind of Allardyce, go figure. There's some solid teams in there as well, in and around, but I think top 10 is definitely achievable with a good window. If we're competitive, if we look like we're in the hunt for the top 6 and we fade off and it's a top 10, top 12 finish, that to me is a sign of success and something to build on for the following season. I certainly don't have any fear that we'd be candidates to be going straight back down. Don't clip that. But I likewise, I don't want to get carried away like some, and not necessarily just Town fans getting carried away, but there have been some bookies that have got carried away and sort of giving odds on us doing back-to-back promotions before the Premier League relegation battle was even settled. So I think we need a solid, and we're going to lose more games at home this season. We all need to be ready for that. We only lost 2 home games, 2 at home, 2 away, wasn't it? Out of the 4 of the games that we lost last season, there's going to be more frustrating days at Portman Road, and with those big numbers, we've still got to get behind the team the same way we were when we went through that spell at the end of the season where we were battering teams 4-0, 6-0, 3-1 or whatever it was on a regular basis. So I'm excited for it. I am excited for it. I think we'll be competitive. I don't necessarily fear any team in the Championship, but I think there's a lot we've got to give respect to.
I think you talk about that run at the end of the season. That's what's got to give you confidence as well. I mean, you talk about we won't batter teams 3 or 4-0, but it's not like we limped over the line. We were running over, steamrolling opposition in League One. So, I mean, obviously the level goes up, but our level was that much higher than the league we were in. Mm. So you've got to think that the gap, yes, we'll get closer, but obviously it depends by what amount. And I think it'll be interesting. Obviously, there will be signings in the summer. But if Town are in and around the playoffs come January, that this ownership group is going to go just as hard in January as it did this year. If there's even an outside chance of the playoffs, they've talked about not leaving anything on the table. And that would be conversely if we were down the bottom, which I don't think we will be. But they're going to keep pushing the envelope to what the standards of this club can be and what they're looking to do over the course of the season. We're definitely looking up rather than down for me.
100%. And I mean, one of the many things that kind of haunts me from the Marcus Evans era is that January transfer window in 2015 when we were in the top 2, and I think we were even top at Christmas, weren't we? And we didn't reinforce from a position of strength there. We only brought Freddie Sears in, and that's no disrespect to Freddie Sears. I quite liked him overall. I thought he was a bit malign, but we ended up scraping in to 6th place despite losing to Blackburn on the final day of the season, and then we all know what happened against Norwich in the semi-finals. But I'm with you, Simon. I have absolute faith that we have a similar January window to the one that's just passed, really, of strengthening in key positions if we find fortunate enough to find ourselves in that position.
Yeah, I'm just excited, boys. Back in the Championship. Final question, really, for you before we wrap up. It's been a good, solid show. Breaking news, good chinwag. But Simon, which games are you looking forward to? Of course, the obvious one. We all know we're looking forward to Norwich. We know that Derby's back and all that. But any other fixtures you're really looking forward to? Any other head-to-heads?
Yeah, I mean, I think you want to test yourself against the teams that come down. Are always the ones you probably start looking for. I mean, Leicester were Premier League champions, seven years ago? And you sort of think, that's a glamour opposition certainly at Championship level. But yeah, there's some fun away days in there as well, which we haven't done for a while, which will be good because I wasn't sort of going on away days back then. So it'd be good to get to some new grounds like Leicester and Southampton. Be a couple of nice, easy games to get to. So yeah, looking forward to a few new away games next season for me.
Definitely, mate. Yeah, Matt, is there any games that you're sort of looking at? No, the fixture's not out just yet, but any really going, want to go there, and even just to go away?
I think, yeah, the three that have come down from the Premier League, those three. I mean, I went to St Mary's for the cup game under Mick. Well, it must have been 8-9 years ago. Haven't done Leicester or Leeds, so that'll be good ones to tick off. I'm looking forward to going to Plymouth again. Of vested interest that's where I was born. I've got a lot of family down there. My uncle is a season ticket holder at Home Park, and we've had some very magnanimous messages over the summer. So don't read into what you see on social media about Plymouth fans baiting Ipswich fans and vice versa. They are a good bunch down there, same as we're generally a good bunch up here. So that'll be a nice one. Millwall again. My one experience in the Den was in the relegation season when Paul Lambert was watching for the stands. So hopefully, I can have a better experience this time around. It's just going to be nice that we haven't got to worry so much about allocation numbers. We're not going to have to go to some of these grounds where you're getting a very low ticket. I mean, we're still going to the demand is going to outstrip what's available still, clearly. Because we're on the up and people are interested, but I think you've certainly got more chance getting a ticket because we're going to be going to grounds that are going to be able to accommodate more of us and are used to away teams bringing big numbers. That's what I'm looking forward to the most, really.
Yeah, well, bring it on, boys. Looking forward to it. Of course, yeah, we're still in this quiet period, although we got the news. Conor Chaplin has signed a new deal. Simon, any other business, my friend? Any other thoughts you want to mention?
No, nothing from me. Just excited to sort of see it all get underway and the transfers start rolling in.
Definitely, yeah. Of course, the first pre-season game is on the 1st of July in Felixstowe, which was, of course, Matt, where the women's team play. And, of course, they kick off their pre-season sort of, coming back on the 26th of June. So, yeah, in 2 weeks' time on Monday. But, yeah, Matt, any other business from yourself?
No, that's a nice segue. Actually, I was going to mention the women's team as well. Yeah, hopefully, if there's still some tickets available, I appreciate Felix giving priority to their season ticket holders for that fixture, which is right and proper, really. But it'd be nice to see, obviously, sort of what Joe and the team were able to start getting some business done and strengthen the women's team. Obviously, absolutely gutting to miss out on winning the league on goal difference. The women did their job. Beating Oxford on the final day of the season. Unfortunately, Bettericky didn't do us a favour against Watford, who eventually went up through the playoffs. But a playoff we haven't got to worry about this coming season because the FA has finally seen a modicum of common sense, and you'll now have two teams coming down from the Women's Championship and the winners of the North and South divisions in the third tier going up automatically if they win their league. Because I think the Southern winners have won the playoff the previous two seasons, so. Particularly the Northern Division will be particularly happy about that because I think it was Wolves last year and was it Forest this year? I think it was. They've won the division the last two seasons, and both of them will be in that division next season. So, looking forward to hearing what's going on at the AGL with the Tractor Girls.
Indeed. Of course, Tractor Girls Talk will return next season as well, so look out for that. If you haven't listened to the end of season review of me and Blue, go and check it out as well. And, of course, check out all the other content we brought you. Most recent In Pictures with Fabian Wilness is there for you to watch and read as well. If you haven't got time to watch video version, you can also see the written version. That's online as well, so check that out. The boys and myself will be back later in the week to bring you a flagship show, but it's been a great fan social with Simon and Matt. Breaking news and Conor Chaplin news, and of course the podcast is proudly sponsored by Manscaped and Ginger Pickle. Big shout out to Tony Southgate, who, of course, helped me with my interviews in Holland with Fabian Milnes, Gus Uhlenbeek, Pim Bolkestein, and, of course, Martin Reusser. Well, Matt, Simon, thanks for joining me. Thanks, everyone, for listening to another KOA Fans Social. Of course, we've got a merch store, so mugs, hats, shirts, hoodies. Maybe not a hoodie at the moment because it's bloody hot. So maybe a shirt or maybe a water bottle to keep you self-hydrated.
I haven't got it in the room with me, but that snapback hat I've got has been doing me a lot of favours in this recent warm weather. Yeah, good quality merch.
Top man. Yeah, we've got the merch shop. Check it out. And we're back very soon for another Fan Social. Thanks again for listening. Bye-bye for now.